Welcome to Victoria Rumble Room. I'm Robin Adair, and hey, this is our New Year's show. We had a Christmas show last week. Santa came on board. This is our New Year's show.
Hi, Santa.
And
Bye, Santa.
yeah, Santa did a very good job. And this show, we're going to start talking about highlights from 2024, the year just gone, and what we are thinking are going to be some of the big highlights coming up in 2025. John Juricic along for the ride on these important pronouncements. And Johnny, maybe you'd like to kick off the list. Let's look at the top three things that we think have happened over this last year, 2024.
Robin, this used to be somewhat easy in the past. You could follow trends, relatively straightforward. Now the news changes about every half an hour. Who knows what could happen tomorrow? But we're going to try. Anyway, this one, I think, is clearly the number one highlight for 2024, the Trump election. Okay, I think this is manifestly a change in global trajectory since the first biggest one, if not the most important one, since World War II. I don't know where this man is going to take the world, but it is the event of 2024 for sure.
And I think Donald Trump does have a lot of things on his list. And unfortunately, a lot of them are directed at Canada. It could really shake things up in our country if he follows through with tariffs that he's talking about. He's talking about pipelines that people may or may not want. And I think the country's really going to feel it. And we're all going to be, I guess, on the edge of our seats wondering what this president is going to do. He's made a lot of very threatening sounds. He's calling Canada a 51st state already and describing the prime minister as a governor. Yeah. So I know he's doing that half in jest, but it's only half in jest, Johnny. I think half in reality. I think Donald Trump wouldn't mind seeing Canada.
He would love to create the chaos he's done in the States up north, and we're not going to let him.
Well, speaking about how we respond up north, my top pick for 2024 was the folding of the Justin Trudeau tent, so to speak. The fact that we've seen the prime minister for this last almost 9 years, basically, he had a majority government, two minorities. He hasn't been able to take hold of his budget. He's running massive deficits, massive overspending. And he's really alienating a lot of people in the country by siloing people, describing some people as being more authentically Canadian than others, talking about us being a post-national country. We don't have our own culture, according to Justin Trudeau. And it's really, it's all pushing against him now. And all the polls are showing Pierre Poilievre surging up and the Conservatives en route to a big win. Justin Trudeau's hung on to the bitter end, saying, I want to be the leader, and I think that's the end of that. I think for sure we're going to see a new Liberal rise to take on the Conservatives in 2025, but I'm not optimistic for them. I think Pierre Poilievre is going to win. He's going to win big time, and Justin Trudeau, he stayed too long, and that's a terrible fault. A lot of politicians do it, and Justin Trudeau has definitely overstayed his welcome.
Robin, absolutely agree with you. And I think the election will not be in the fall. I think there will be a federal election in the spring. Talking about federal elections and about highlights of 2024, let's move to the provincial election in British Columbia and the NDP victory by one vote.
That was a wild outcome, John. No one expected that. I mean, here's John Rustad. He's got two guys in this BC Conservative Party. BC United was supposed to be the rising star, and Kevin Falcon, but they flatlined it. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't get any kind of traction at all. And then miraculously, Kevin Falcon pulls the plug and basically stands on a podium with John Rustad. What a shock politically that was.
And here is something that I'm questioning for 2025. Coming out of that 2024 election, did EB hear anything? Is he going to respond at all to this dramatic shift in the political environment in British Columbia?
Which takes us now to our predictions for 2025, John. I think that neatly fits in, with what you're about to tell us. What do you think is going to happen in 2025 in British Columbia, John?
I think what we've said to date is reasonably safe, reasonably conservative. Most people can connect the dots. I'm going to break that tradition, and I'm going to say that there will be another BC election in 2025. I don't think EB is going to do a damn thing about the economy, and I think people will get frustrated. Rustad and his motley crew of MLAs are going to get their act together and figure out a way to take down this government in 2025 and force
Well,
another election.
I think that that's entirely possible, John, and we'll certainly we'll stand by and see what happens. One thing about British Columbia politics, you know, you can never really predict what's going to happen. It's always just a wild ride like a roller coaster. So we'll see if you're right, and big kudos if you are. For my prediction for this coming year, I think there's going to be some settlements. They may not be the settlements the parties really want, but they're going to happen. I think in Ukraine, I think the U.S. will find a way to ease back their support for Zelensky and Ukraine. It doesn't mean a victory for Putin, however. I think there will be an arbitrated separation of the two countries. Russia will hold on to some of the places that it's already taken. Ukraine will be allowed to stand independently. I don't know what the longer term outcome of that is, but I do think in 2025 we'll see peace in Ukraine, as I think there will be peace in the Middle East, at least some form of peace. I don't think Syria is going to be in the mood to be doing any more fighting. I think it really basically pulls the plug on Russia in the Middle East and even Iran operating in places like Hezbollah and Hamas. They have basically been emasculated by the Syrians, cutting off their supply lines. And so I think Hamas will settle in the Palestinian conflict. Hezbollah will back off in Lebanon. I think Israel will again be pushed by the United States to get to the negotiating table. And with any luck in 2025, we will see the beginnings of negotiations for a Palestinian state. I certainly hope that's what happens.
So what we've summarized is that 2025 will have political turmoil like maybe nothing we've seen in the recent past, and that's guaranteed. Nonetheless, why don't you and I wrap things up? Because the news is going to change in half an hour.
Absolutely. The only thing you can really count on, John, in this world is gas prices are going to go up next year. In 2025, watch for gas prices to go up and inflation will continue and all those things are going to happen. It'll only be worse if Donald Trump actually does some of the terrible things he's been talking about. I don't know that he will. We'll find out. I'm concerned about it, like all Canadians. But this pretty well wraps up. This wraps up our New Year's show, and we wish you all the best for 2025. We hope you continue to watch the Rumble Room. We promise you lots of great guests and commentary for this upcoming year. And for now, Happy New Year and rumble on.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and all anxiety